Hello.
Hello.
Hello
Hi.
there. Good day.
Bonjour. What's going on?
Aloha. And all sorts of salutations. It's been a little bit, hasn't it? Well, no longer than it usually has, but howdy.
Hello.
Look, that's not important. Jeez.
No, why would it be? Well,
Anyway,
I suppose... Hello. I suppose that's the only way we can start is by saying, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Boosters and Space Tape Relaunched, the podcast about Kerbal Space Program, real space, and other cool and sciencey stuff. My name is Matoro, and today's date is May 27th. Yes, May 27th, 2023. And we are back. And with me are my lovely friends, the one and only, the derailer from down under, Mr. Digital Psychosis. He's down there.
Hi.
Our favorite editor we do love to torment every blue moon at this point. The one and only Iconesis Gaming, otherwise known as the underscore.
Yes. Yes, it's still there.
And unfortunately, our good friend, Mr. TheReadPanda, is not here to join us today because he's got family to take care of. But we do have a longtime friend of ours joining us today for the first time in quite a while. And how's it going, my good friend, Mr. Coffee?
Hello.
Hello. So, what's up, y'all?
Do you know, the last time we had coffee on here, I found out not long before we started this, was we were actually in our real space section reporting on Cassini.
Was it that long?
Cassini, yeah, Cassini was still going around Saturn, doing its thing. Now it's not. I just wanted to point that out.
F in the chat for Cassini.
Which is also, how long we've been doing this thing for as well.
I remember the New Horizons episode, so...
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wiped it from my memory, and then you guys brought back the memory of it when we started relaunched.
And Coffee was present for that as well, when there was about 15 of us reporting on Pluto.
That was chaotic.
The absolute cluster.
That was a brilliant idea, wasn't it?
I think I blocked that one out.
I think we all have. But
for perspective, that the only reason why there was only 15 people is because that is the limit on the Skype call.
But yeah,
And in fact, we had to completely edit out some people, so there probably wasn't 15 in the final edit because some of the microphones that were used were so bad. But no,
it was tin can on a string.
Yeah.
Hello,
what are you doing?
What are you up to?
Ever since then, I've had a twitch. Ever since.
You know, we've all tried to block it out, but what's on the internet is forever. We will never escape it.
The scars remain.
Probably the only episode out of this whole show that I've never listened back to.
You know?
So you get the shakes now every time you open Skype, is that?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where my visceral hatred of Skype comes from. So it's been a couple weeks since we've all been here, and quite a few more weeks for you, Coffee.
It's been several couple of weeks.
Many. But I think this is going to be a good point for us to go ahead and hop into our personal progress section, so we can keep this show moving along. But I'll go ahead and kick that off by saying, I've been busy. I've been working, and then when I wasn't working, I was in Florida for a week. Chasing Starlink and Axiom 2 and ArabSat 7B, which I did not get ArabSat 7B, but I got the other two. So 2 more launches are under my belt, number 64 and 65, I think.
That's how many launches you've attended?
Yes. In fact, for those watching on the stream, you can see you can't see my door actually, but my friends can see the camera, on the camera, the door of patches. I have literally run out of room.
You kind of need a bigger door, man.
Yeah, or another one.
Or another one. Just
break through the wall and have double doors.
After we're done with this episode, I'm going to take all of the
soon you'll have a revolving door. Just so you've got enough space to put all your patches on.
4 doors, 8 sides. So much room for it.
So many launches. So many patches.
We fixed your problem for you.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the solution right there. No
Yeah.
arguing.
You're welcome.
No disagreeing. Nothing. You're welcome. It's done.
Yeah, it is.
Go on, next issue. Keep them coming. Keep them
But
coming.
yeah, no. After this episode, I'm gonna yoink all the patches off the door because they're just held up by command strips and figure that puzzle out. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Well, look, all I gotta say is you're coming up to a really nice number.
I really hope NROL 69 is number
I only got
69.
that so quickly because I know it's Digi.
If that is number 69, you better goddamn tweet it.
If that's 69, I might retire. There's no better way to end.
Retire. That's a
Don't
lie.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
That's a lie. You won't retire. What are you
No,
talking about?
no, but that will get tweeted. Oh my god, that might actually line up to be number 69.
And then and then you get like 4,000 respondents going, nice.
Nice. Yeah,
They are the best. They are the best tweets.
Just that meme of the bearded guy fishing in the lake. Just the slow nod. Barely registering. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's the anytime 69 pops up, like the response is nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Nice. That's it.
But yeah, that's mainly what I've been up to is just working and launches. So I haven't had much time to play Kerbal, unfortunately. So yeah, that's me. What about you, my good friend from down under, Mr. Psychosis?
So for me recently, I missed the last episode because it was Mother's Day here in Australia, and there is basically a standing rule at this point that Mother's Day, just not here. Just not here. I have a wife and 4 children who all have things that they need to do on that day. So me being the dad that I am, have to contribute somewhat to that solution. So that's where I was then. Since then, though, I've been playing, getting my hooks into indie games, waiting for the next update to drop for Kerbal. Checking out Project Zomboid, and I played the absolute hell out of Hades. Yes, I chose my words appropriately for that.
Holy
Hades
heck.
Holy heck, indeed. It is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I haven't been this addicted to a roguelite in a very, very, very long time. Or any game for that matter in a very, very, very long time. So highly recommend it if you have not attempted it, and if you at least have a passing interest in roguelite games. It's good fun. But I did see when I last loaded up Kerbal, which I think was a week or two now, I saw that the weekly challenge was to travel to Moho.
Have you finally gone?
No. To be fair, I tried. I built the most massively over-engineered rocket I could, and then I could not work it out because bugs. Nothing would really work when I was trying to get orbital trajectories to work. So I would get pretty much halfway to the solar orbit burn, and then everything would just crap out and the maths wouldn't work right, and it was pretty bad. So I went, I'm going to put this down. I'm not going to try it again because I'm going to be filled with disappointment that once again, I have not made it to Moho.
But you
so
tried.
that's me. Oh, look, I tried, and then bugs kind of stopped me. I got to say, it's a little bit of a pet peeve, though, and I'm not going to get into too much of being negative right at the very, very start of the show. But Moho, I feel like, is the hardest goddamn planetary body to get to, and they make it one of the first things that they're doing as a weekly challenge.
Yes.
Like, that's a really terrible idea. That's how you're going to...
You want people to quit.
You're going to cut people out because they're going to go, that's too hard. I am out. I'm not contributing to the weekly thing anymore. Like,
There's
push that
probably
further
an
down.
assumption
Maybe
as well.
get people to Elu first. Elu's easier.
I'd say it's probably an assumption first, because Moho's the first planet. It's probably the easiest to get to because it's number 1.
Yeah, which we know it's not.
Which
And
is not.
I
We're
would
saying that
assume.
now. KSP one's the same. It's difficult.
Yeah, KSP one's the same. Like, but I would assume that the devs would probably know this, that it's stupidly hard. And I don't know why they're setting something as such a huge challenge.
Yeah, that's a bit of a lofty goal.
It's making me feel quite inadequate. Please shut up. Don't judge me. I've never been there.
Look, all you gotta do is account for the plane change. It's just gotta get the plane change. And then
that's me, though.
Boom.
That's me, though. That's it. That's it.
Well, I'm glad to see you're finally making the efforts to, at least try and go to Moho. So.
Oh, I've tried so many times. I've never made it. The only thing that I did once was turn on unlimited fuel and then get a pod with a Kerbal on it so that I could throw the Kerbal into the Mohole. And that was it.
Speak into the microphone how long you've been playing this game for.
Too long.
So, this is for the listeners. Moho's not an easy planet, was the point I was getting at to get to. So
yeah.
Don't fall into the trap that it's the first planet in the solar system. It must be easy. Digi's been playing
it's not.
around about 10 years.
Well, Mr. Psychosis.
I've been once. I've been playing about the same amount of time.
Yeah, I've been multiple times.
This was me going to drop a Kerbal in the Mohole, and I crashed into Moho, and that's the only time I've ever been there. And that was with unlimited fuel, and I still couldn't fix up the orbital trajectories enough to slow down and get into orbit. I just crashed into the surface. It's so hard.
Litho braking is a legit way of landing and slowing down, so don't feel bad.
It's technically a landing, right? It involves death, but it's landing.
It doesn't always have to involve death.
Well, that one did.
Well, that one did, but you know what? We'll let you work on that because I think it's time to hear from what Mr. Underscore has been up to.
Well, this is going to be really easy because just like I did not prepare for the space section as we were talking about before we started recording, I have done nothing for personal progress either.
Well, look, we've all been busy. Let's be fair.
No. I've done stuff. I just haven't made the notes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I got so focused on the dev notes of KSP, and it takes me half a minute to scroll down to the bottom of the page of all the notes I've written just on the dev notes because there'll be a lot to talk about. But I have been playing KSP 1. I've been doing long range, trying to do a lot of the contracts I'm getting in my career playthrough for KSP 1 is over the other side of the Kerbin now. And actually, Kerbin's probably not a very well explored planet for me, considering it's one you start on, and it's probably actually the most interesting. So I'm trying to build a long range aircraft out of Mark 1 spaceplane parts or airplane parts. That's a challenge in itself. I've got drop tanks that the aircraft takes off with, and then jettisons them as it goes along to save weight. That's how much fuel I need to carry. Yeah, which isn't very realistic, but it seems to be working. So that's what I'm doing in KSP 1 at the moment. Other than that, it's been, as I was saying, a lot of Mario Kart 8 on the Switch with my kids, and Worms, Weapons of Mass Destruction. I love how it just honors the original Worms game so much. Just modernized. It's fantastic. And a lot of MechWarrior 5 stuff.
Oh, a little bit of the Battletech, eh?
Oh, I love the Battletech. I'm reading the books now as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're very good. But that's my personal progress. The KSP stuff I'll talk about in KSP, as I always do, in the KSP section.
Excellent.
Kofeyh!
Hello.
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 What have your latest PC adventures been?
Well, actually, I started up KSP 2 yesterday to see where it was at.
First time?
It's reminding me of...
Is this your first time?
No. Some console donated a copy of KSP 2 to me, probably because I gave out so many copies of KSP 1. Like, revenge, I can finally give Kofeyh a game. So I started that again yesterday, actually, to have a look to see
Which
how.
version have you come in at? Don't mind me asking.
Whatever the current version is, the
Current
one that's
version,
just
yeah.
released. The one with Moho as the target. For some reason, it's just pick the hardest body in the entire solar system and just go there.
Right.
It's fine. It's just chilling out all by itself. It's, how hard could it be? Very hard. So I gave that a spin yesterday, just to see how it was going, and I got to orbit, so that was pretty cool. I landed.
Hey,
That was pretty cool.
hey.
And then I closed the game and went back into KSP1 because it reminded me of how much I enjoyed KSP1. So I spent a few hours fooling around with aircraft and flying and just having a good time in KSP1. But as far as stuff I've been doing, working, that's a big thing. That consumes a huge amount of my time these days. But also getting back into No Man's Sky, that's gone a long way from its early days of being a bit crap. It's anything but crap at this point. It's a great game, very enjoyable. Can sink a huge amount of hours into that. I still jump into Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, but mostly Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 because building stuff is fun. You can run around and shoot stuff and level up and things. I just build. I just build places, and then I go, well, that was great, that was fun. I wonder whether I could do it a little bit better. So I'll just move and build again. So I get into
Abandon
this endless
that settlement.
vicious cycle of building a settlement and going, that's really cool, but I think I can do better. So I'll just move down the road and build again, and it just seems to be some sort of addiction. So, and I jump into Star Citizen from time to time as well to enjoy the glorious views and the very nice ships that you can just get out of bed. They've got to a point now where you start the game and you wake up in your hab, which is a habitat. You get out of bed and then generally put some clothes on. You don't have to; it's optional, but generally put clothes on. If you're shot at, having clothes on is pretty good. And then you can.
It could be a good distraction if you don't.
Oh, it is. It is. Just screaming naked dudes sprinting past me. But yeah, and
Covered in grease.
Well,
Don't make it weird, Digi.
Tuesday, sorry. I wasn't meant to tell.
But yeah, it's pretty immersive, and you start in a pretty normal location, and you can cruise on down to the spaceport, figure out which ship you want to fly, and walk to the ship, walk into the ship, and then take off and head out to space and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's come a long way. It's got a long way to go though. They'll be developing for many years yet, but yeah, that's me at the moment, pretty much.
Have you you still play Elite Dangerous?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
All right then. How does No Man's Sky compare to Elite Dangerous in No Man's Sky's present state? Because I've got No Man's Sky, but I haven't played it yet. But I haven't played Elite Dangerous.
You haven't played No Man's Sky?
No, I've got it,
Sir.
but I haven't played it yet. I'm worried that that's all I'll do if I start playing it.
It's a rabbit hole. It's a fairly significant rabbit hole.
I would recommend starting the game. You will kick yourself if you don't.
Right, okay. On that advice.
And you'll probably kick yourself after you start the game and go, oh wow, okay, everything is very different. But play it. If you've got it, play it.
Yes, I will.
It's
I'm
like
just
any
worried
game,
that-
right?
because my kids need feeding, and I need to prioritise them over the game, and I can get addicted to the game.
Well,
where
that's
they
what
start.
takeout's for, and just just delegate.
You get a playpen, throw them all in there, it'll be fine.
Have them join you because it's multiplayer now. So just get another half dozen copies, however many children you have, and just issue a copy to each child. And
We say I have
Your
played
job is to
Minecraft
reach
with
me.
them, and it's extremely stressful. It's probably more stressful playing games with them than it is.
You have explained why I don't play Minecraft with my daughter.
Yeah. They're all into Roblox now, anyway.
Yeah, true. Roblox is the kid thing now. Everything else is not cool. Sorry, everyone.
No, I know, and it makes me sad. But yes, okay, I will try No Man's Sky.
And you know what? No Man's Sky is cool. And you know what else is cool? It's time.
Is it KSP?
It's time to talk KSP.
Okay.
Mr. Gaming, would you like to take it away?
Yes, I will.
Oh, wait.
and-
Wait, I got you. Hold on.
Oh, please do. Thank
There
you.
we go. Oh,
That's a
now with echo. Mwah. It's beautiful.
Actually, Kofeyh. Talking about, we've mentioned obviously KSP2. You've had a try of KSP2 now, and there's a lot of things that are similar in the development of KSP2 as there is with KSP1. I'm sure you've noticed even in your short time playing. And what's funny is one of the reasons that you're here today is because we can talk about the Skylab stuff, which we will do in the real space section. But one of the things I came across recently was the promotional video that I made for our little Skylab trip. And in that promotional video is a clip of you, and I wonder if you remember the launch clamp bug.
Ah, yes.
Remember
Yes, I
that?
do.
Oh.
And from that, go on, no to say.
No, I roped in IPER to solve that one because when you launch a ship in KSP and the ground disappears, but the clamps do not, and they chase you into orbit, it is a terrifying sight because they're going to get you at some point. They will arrive and they will kill you. You don't know when. You won't know what hour. You won't. You can time warp. You can do all sorts of things, and they will get you.
But they will get you.
Essentially, what Kofey's saying is that the clamps are the Slender Man of KSP.
Yeah. Yeah. They make the Kraken look like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, right.
Well, in that little clip
Nice.
of you that I had, you had just splashed down, and you're going, no, oh no, and then these launch clamps descended and destroyed your vessel. At which point you turned off your camera and just disappeared, and then turned off the game. This is why you're streaming, of course. It was a very fond memory, and it's actually inspired me. I'll say it now, but I'm not ready for it yet. But the top 10 most annoying bugs in KSP1 development, and there's quite a few. And actually, do you know what? Where's my phone? Let's, as you're here, let's just reminisce. The launch clamps are obviously one of them. I wasn't going to do this. This is very impromptu of me. So, sorry, Mesa.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I think this is actually an important history for everyone.
think
These
it
are the
is.
bugs that you can all look forward to in KSP2 as development continues.
And this ties
because
into
we've been
something-
through them with KSP1.
Yup.
Yes.
For any newbies out there, welcome to the
And it
party.
seems like development is very much going along the same trajectory. You know, the same sort of bugs seem to be coming up. So prepare your butts.
Yeah. And actually, Nate mentions this in the latest dev blog notes as well. So this all ties in very well, ironically. But here are some of the, because I don't really have a life. So these are some of the things I've wrote down as I was thinking of them over the last couple of weeks. Soup, the atmospheric soup for KSP1. We all know about that.
Yes,
But-
the soup.
Yes, annoying. That wasn't a bug. That's a bit unfair to call it a bug. It was just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
That was
annoying.
where we're going to release the game in this way. Well, hang on. Do you mean the original soup, or are you talking the 1.0 soup and then everyone went on holidays?
Any of it. Until they got the atmosphere sorted out. Another one. This is KSP1's development in the early days, not like it is now. I'll hasten to add, it's not like this now. This is during the development, and as Kofeyh has experienced KSP2 in its current state, I thought this would be fun. The bumpy runway, the level 1 runway.
Oh, good times.
It's still bumpy.
Is it still bumpy?
It's still
Yes.
bumpy.
Yeah, it's still bumpy.
I thought they smoothed it out. Have I got a
No.
mod that's addressed that?
No, it's still there.
All right, I'll amend this to not past bugs, past/current, maybe
Current.
bugs. Craft dismantling and/or bouncing on loading of a vessel.
Oh, that one was fun.
It still actually does that. I was playing it
I
today.
cringe.
And
I cringe. Even
does.
now in KSP1, when I load a craft to the pad or the runway,
How high up it bounces.
yeah, just whether it just leaves and comes back or not,
I'm
and how
ready
many
to
bits of it
when
are
you-
still there.
When you've built moon bases and you're hitting load game and you're going, please, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, and waiting for it to load to see how much it bounces.
Yes. Yeah, when your little module just suddenly flies off into the air and your Kerbal's just left there looking at it.
Yeah,
Sailing off into escape trajectory. It tied into that one then. Random explosion sound that seemed to do nothing. Anyone remember that? You'd be flying along, you just get a random explosion.
Yes.
And you're
Yeah,
like, what the hell was
Yeah.
that? But it seems to have
and
no...
it was nothing.
It seems to be
nothing.
nothing. Unless it was those launch clamps
Could have been the clams.
coming to get you.
They're coming.
They always do.
Give him the clamps.
Yes.
Give 'em the clams.
Give him the clamps.
Having to time warp to get rid of a stage that would not jettison. Funny old thing, you have to do that in KSP2 as well, I found out. Or at least in version 1.0, sorry, 0.1.0. Seems to be resolved in 0.1.2.
Yeah, that didn't work in the first version either, because the part never actually came apart.
It just sort of
It was genuinely stuck to the bottom of a poodle engine.
like a bit of wet spaghetti on the end, just flailing around.
It's bad.
Who remembers the sticky keys?
Oh,
Because the shift
God.
was the throttle.
It still is the
Oh,
throttle.
Wow.
It still is the throttle. I didn't know sticky keys existed until I played KSP.
Many people that play KSP for the first time discover the sticky key feature.
Yeah.
Or
What the hell
Minecraft.
is this?
What is
Things are happening and I cannot control them anymore. What is going on?
Yep.
this? That's all I had so far. But I was just forming a list. But yes, there's a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yep.
Oh, you've taken me back.
Yeah, all these little things you forget about. And it was watching the Skylab promo and the bugs that we were facing. Because one of mine, it's just the air. You loaded the craft, and all of a sudden it just did a ridiculous amount of somersaults very quickly in the air, then exploded. Or I was just driving down to the beach on Kerbin, and my rover just suddenly inverted, made a water splash sound, even though it was on dry land, and then poofed into
Love that.
non-existence.
I love that when that happens. Just yeah. I got to say, I got to add to this very quickly, because something I've been playing around with a lot, and I'm sure everyone else has been playing around with it a lot, because AI is a thing. ChatGPT. All right, I just threw into ChatGPT just for the laughs. What were the funniest bugs of Kerbal Space Program 1? All right, the first one, it just throws out the Kraken, which is just described as it causes physics glitches that result in wild, unpredictable movements and deformations of spacecraft. Then followed by stretched Kerbals.
I was just about to
I
say the
love
spaghetti
stretch-
Kerbals.
Yes.
The spaghetti
These
Kerbals.
bugs cause their limbs or bodies to elongate dramatically, resulting in comical and rather unsettling appearances. Oh, yes, that
yeah.
perfectly describes it.
It was
Yes.
horrifying to watch. It was uncomfortable to watch.
I think it was uncomfortable, yeah. More than anything, it was just, that does not seem right. I'm not okay with this.
The next one it throws out was ladders in space. Right. In earlier versions of the game,
the slow drifting of
players
the Kerbal.
discovered that they could attach ladders to the exterior of their spacecraft, and EVA Kerbals could climb into could use them to climb into orbit. It was an unintentional feature. I like the way it calls it an unintentional feature.
A lot of them were.
Yeah, resulting from a bug that provided a comical and unconventional method of reaching space.
Do we know what
Climbing
version?
a ladder.
Do we have a version? No, but I'm going to go and look that up and find out which
Please
version that
do,
was.
because I have every version saved back to 0.18.
So do I.
I have a need to do some experimentation.
We need to find it, definitely.
Actually,
And the last one
hunting.
it had rapid unplanned disassembly, but you've already covered that. The rude events, where things just fall apart and staging mechanisms don't work right, and it just ends up being nuts. But the last one that it had was wobbly wheels on rovers. The bugs would cause wheels to wobble uncontrollably, leading to awkward and entertaining rover attempts. The vehicles would bounce, flip, and spin as if possessed, creating humorous and unpredictable moments. I mean,
yeah.
It was great for streaming.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was very entertaining.
Well, not
Incredibly
streaming.
frustrating, but entertaining for the
Good
viewer.
watching.
There's a reason I have multiple rovers that were made with landing gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So there you go.
There's similar issues with the KSP2 as well.
Yeah, I think a certain amount of KSP1 code ended up in KSP2 because they're like, oh, how do we do this? I know. What is
Well, as has been said before, Kerbal 2 is built in Unity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Unity still has code from 1994.
There you go.
Like,
Well, if it-
there is still code from 1994 built in the active version of Unity. So we're going to see similar problems.
Yeah. So
yes,
So
it's
it's
not
a good
necessarily
time.
the game, it's the engine.
Yeah. Anyway, on to your other stuff, Aki. Sorry.
Well,
Yes, please.
I've derailed you enough with ChatGPT being entertaining.
no, this is good. Okay, KSP2 development. There's been 2 dev updates since our last recording. The first one was quite small. It announced that 0.1.3 will drop in June,
Ooh.
but no date.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no date, but it will be sometime in June. And they promise more good performance, stability, and gameplay improvements. One thing they've demonstrated is an overhaul of the solar lens flare occlusion system. So there's a good video of it as well. The lens, when the star goes behind something, it actually drops in and out like it does in real life, rather than bleeding through the parts still. There's very
Like
good
parachutes.
Yes.
Parachutes. Like, I think there's even a GIF that's on the Steam page for it to show that.
Looks the difference it makes is amazing.
It's very
Yes.
clever.
No more weird flare behavior behind vehicle parts, and it now shines correctly through visors, trusses, parachutes, and windows.
Ooh.
They've done very well. Like, I will commend them. Like, as much as I bashed Unity there for a moment, saying that there's code from 94. That's very well done. With the tool that they have, it's surprising that they're able to do it. Very well done.
It's they've done it a different way. So the official word is the scaling disappearance of the sun's lens flare when passing behind objects no longer uses ray casts or colliders. Now they're literally counting pixels on the sun itself. And the result is no more sun peeking through terrains or oceans, no more weird flare behavior behind vehicle parts, and, as we said, correctly shines through visors, trusses, parachutes, and windows.
That's an ingenious idea.
They're working around Unity.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, they're finding different ways of doing it.
Oh,
How do we not use Unity in Unity? Let's go.
That looks fantastic.
Have you got it up?
It looks
Yeah.
good, right?
Show notes.
Oh, that's gonna be so much better.
It does look amazing. So a bit of hybrid between that dev post and the latest dev post. The new parts that we're going to see is air brakes, Clampatron shielded docking ports, Clampatron inline docking port, the Mark II Clampatron docking port, the Korner Methalox engine, which is a small extensible nozzle orbital engine. I think I said in the last episode that they're going to have some more vacuum efficient engines rather than a bit of a hybrid between atmospheric and vacuum.
Yep.
The Trumpet
they did say
Methalox
that.
engine, which is a medium size orbital engine, and then the Tuber Methalox engine. There's a theme here, which is the large extensible nozzle orbital engine, and then a new large inline Methalox tank, which is the longer version of the large Methalox tanks.
AC, I'm excited about these docking ports, but my question is, are they actually going to work finally or not?
One thing at a time. Let's get the parts first. We'll worry about their function later.
I just want docking ports to do the thing.
Yes.
And
Ports that dock. That would be nice. Yes.
do what the name suggests.
Right.
And Meta, not in this update, they don't think, but in a subsequent update at some point, grid fins. They're going to have stock grid fins.
Amazing.
This is happy. This is Mattor's happy face.
Yes, he's a happy sounds coming from Matoro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Now,
grid fins.
this is the big bit. The latest dev update since our last recording. It is definitely worth a read. It is a big chunk text. I'll put the direct link in the chat. But these will be in the show notes as well.
I think it's also on the Steam page for anyone who's doing the Steam thing.
Cool. So Nate addresses a lot in this. It's a bit of from the heart. He in the dev notes prior to this one, the one where they show the new sun occlusion and the new engines and things, there's been a lot of backlash from the community now. So Nate mentioned that they're going to slow down the updates so they can concentrate more on the content that will be coming out later on.
Yep.
And a lot of the communities, there's been a lot of negativity from the community regarding this because it's gone very quiet with Squad. No, Squad, not Squad.
They're not even Squad anymore.
Not with Squad anymore.
I mean, look, we're so used to saying that Squad's gone quiet that it just slipped right in there.
Well, it's kind of ironic because the same thing's happening now. Nate says he's already been stung by announcing release dates, content, and progress that haven't manifested on time previously. So his solution was to just not announce anything, especially things that aren't certain. Graphical updates and new parts like the engines and the occlusion, perfect examples, they are very certain. So he will talk about them, and that's why we see that a lot. And also we see a lot of, and I think we've said it in every episode that we've recorded about KSP2, that the next update will have a lot of improved stability and performance, which is Nate's catch-all term for progress. But it's very cryptic. It doesn't really tell us much. But now that Nate has been quiet about the development of KSP2 because he was getting scolded for doing it the other way previously, he's now getting stung on the other cheek for being too quiet. So it is a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for him.
I think it's a balance thing for him that
Yeah.
And look, I understand this is a pretty significant project. Like I'm not going to downplay what Private Division have picked up by picking up Kerbal. It's a very, very significant project with a cult following, with a fervent cult following this game. So they're never going to please everyone, right? I mean, hell, some of the things that bug me are not going to bug anyone else. I'm just going to be really ticked off about them because my interests are different to everyone. But I will follow it with a fever, right? Trying to track these things down. And while I'm not going to say that everyone is an absolute pain in the butt, I'm going to say everyone else has different perspectives on what they want. So he is never, ever, ever going to please everyone. It's just minimizing how much noise he hears.
Yeah. And this is reminiscent of KSP1 again, because Squad, they kept a lot of things quiet, especially release dates. They didn't announce anything until, and again, they were the same. They released a lot of images of parts and new visual things.
Because they're
and KSP
tangible things.
Yeah,
Like, and
KSP2.
if you've made a fundamental change to how the soup, for example, right? Taking it back to KSP1, if they had made a fundamental change to the soup, you cannot present that visually in a dev blog. There is no way to present that until someone actually goes to launch a rocket. They're not going to see it. So it's really hard to put some sort of detailed explanation about a change like that into a blog without just saying, so we've made a change to the atmosphere. You're going to have to wait and see. Right, you're going to have to do it yourself to know what we're talking about. Like, that's the only thing you can really do in that circumstance.
Yeah. But it was a very positive change, that one, because it saved everyone about 1,000 meters per second delta V, didn't it?
Yes. I mean, in 1.0.1, sure, when they, or 1.0.2 when they fixed it.
Yeah,
Like,
but
1.0, oh
They would
God.
fly, because prior to that, they didn't fly. They just forced their way from point A to point B. There was no flying. You just used brute force because the wings didn't do anything.
okay, so no,
Yeah.
there was flying. There was infinigliders. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, that's because there was soup.
Nobody has
It's like it's fish swimming through the sea. It was pretty much the same principle.
I
Flatten
think
your tail, you'll go forward.
I think KSB has a very how can I put this? A very fervent, very engaged, very specific kind of community, and it's the same sort of community that forms around some other games that have a scientific bend or they have a technical aspect. It captures people who become very emotionally invested in the game and become in some ways a little too emotionally invested at times, and that when you get that at scale, you get a really strong driving force. And I think they're doing an incredible job with the legacy that they have, because how the hell do you fill the boots of KSP1? You don't, right? You can't, that was lightning in a bottle. It's like Minecraft, it's lightning in a bottle. Anything that comes along that's after that is going to struggle to ever fill those boots. And one of the challenges that I think that development team has faced is they were very passionate about the game and very invested in it, and they loved it, and they hoped that everybody else would love it. And I don't think anybody or anything prepared them for the torment that occurred post-launch. I think everybody that's played KSP for a very long time understood that when we were starting the game, it's probably going to be rough. It's probably not going to work, because that's what KSP1 was like. That's what the very early versions of KSP were like. They were borderline unplayable. You could do certain things, but fundamental aspects just didn't work, and the soup was out of control, and you pretty much had to brute force your way to do anything. So a lot of that does not surprise me, and there is a very strong emotional investment in KSP. A lot of people have grown up with it, so they've developed a very strong attachment to it. So I'm not surprised the team is struggling to find a balance between oversharing and undersharing. If they say too much, people will get upset. If they don't say enough, people will get upset. If they sit in the middle, people will still get upset because it's not enough of something. So I think that that's part of their learning curve, will be building that skin that allows them to persist anyway and get the game built and do the things they want to do. There'll be key things they want to deliver, and they just have to deliver them, and people will scream. Doesn't matter, that's fine, it's feedback, it's important, but you press on and get the work done. And as long as they stick to that, and as long as they remain committed, the game's going to be absolutely fantastic, because KSP1 ended up being absolutely fantastic, and it still is. So I think over time they'll get there, but they are going to hit all of the comical things that KSP1 hit, because part of the problem that KSP1 had was Unity. And part of the problem that KSP2 will have is Unity. So I think it is something that I've developed over time as well is an understanding that even if you love the game to death, you have to be able to give it room to breathe. And you have to give yourself room to breathe. And sometimes you just have to take breaks. Sometimes you just have to put it to one side, find something else that's going to scratch the same itch. Do that for a while. So a lot of people that play KSP 2 jump into KSP 1 because it's just like, oh, I remember this. This was good fun. And I think as long as they stay level-headed, they'll get there. But I don't doubt it's been incredibly rough for them because the community's pretty special, and in every sense of the word, in every great way, in every perhaps not great way. So, but it was promising when I played it yesterday. It was frustrating, but it was promising. I could see, they're starting to nail some of those big bugs. It's starting to get there. Yes, I still had duplicated parts. I put the rocket on a pad yesterday, and the bottom of the rocket was like this, and the top just went, because part of it was duplicated, and I'm like, how did that happen? And something to do with the clamps as well. If you clamps. If you grab the clamps and put them on the ship and then move them up and down, they'll eventually just do that, and so you'll have 9,000 clamps just around it. So there's still a ton of bugs. But you know what I had yesterday? I had the world's biggest grin because I'm like, they're getting it. And if they add more parts and they allow us, I think some of the biggest things will be them adding more parts and them making more of those parts resizable. So you can take an existing engine and just make it bigger or smaller so that they can get a lot more flexibility. Because there's things like wings and tanks, you can resize and stretch and make them sort of as big or small as you want to an extent. If they can start figuring out how to add scalars to the engines so that you can take a tiny engine and make it bigger, and have basically a linear thing, so that the bigger you make it, it has to be linear, but in a way that the larger you make it, it sort of offsets the thrust, so you end up with a nice bit of a bell curve. But if they can do things like that and just really...
You've just hit the nail on the head with something that I really want.
Yeah, if they can just... Basically, they know the things that worked well in KSP 1. They know and they know some of the mods, some of the big mods, and I think you can see some of those, some of the big mods, things like the engineer and stuff. They added that as core.
Tweak scale.
So, tweak scale.
Tweak scale, so, right there, like beautiful.
Even planet
if they can, So they're getting there, and I think the big thing that everybody can take away from the thing, even if you don't like the new developer, even if you think that they're doing things wrong, because every developer
put the pitchforks away, boys.
That's fine. And pitchforks are fine. It's just, I think you can see that they are trying, and as long as they keep trying, that's going to matter a lot. One of the things that happened to Squad very late in the piece is they stopped trying, and the game kind of got to a really nice point, and then it just flatlined and stayed there, and it never really went anywhere because the team just went, we're tired, we've had enough, we're just going to cruise, and they went on to cruise control.
Yeah, so the thing I will say is that a person doing a local sort of running race thing, like doing the 100-meter dash or whatever it is, they're not going to be able to compete on Usain Bolt level. Like that's the comparison. There's not even any comparison between someone doing a local foot race to Usain Bolt. Right? It's going to take time for someone to get to that level, right, where they can actually compete. You've just got to give them time. And I know it's a sport analogy, and yay, sports ball, but it's the only thing I can think of right now that makes sense.
Well, we said early in this podcast, in the early days, there'll never be a KSP 2.
We did, didn't we? Yeah.
Because, like Kofeyh said, KSP 1's lightning in a bottle. Who's going to be brave enough to try and reinvent that and make it better?
And then go through all the same bugs and the same errors and the same everything and repeat the wheel, just better.
Well, I will say, Nate did say in the post, he's also addressed the fact that the community can get frustrated that they perceive features that are in KSP 1 as easy to implement in KSP 2. And we've done that. We've done that in like with some of the bugs,
Yep.
like the orbital bug, where the what was it? The center of mass. Sorry, the position of the ship is not taken from the center of mass. It's taken from the nose or something. Probably the command pod or whatever. So that when you're in orbit around Kerbin or wherever, the apoaps and periaps, it ebbs and flows. It's not a constant thing because they've taken the measurements from the craft, not from the center of mass, which was a bug in KSP1. You said that, and that's just one example. We've said lots, and
I think look, to echo your point there, I think for a lot of people making that sort of commentary, myself included, right? Center of mass bug, very good example. The immediate reaction is, so why wasn't this picked up? Because there's obviously the solution there in KSP1, because anyone who's had any extensive playtime with KSP1 saw the bug when it existed and saw when it was fixed. So it's like, okay, what's the comparison? What was the fix then? Why is that not the fix now? So it's immediately a thought, but we don't know how much difference there is between the code. I understand that all of the erroneous code is gone and it's, cleaned up quite significantly. But it's really simple to say. You're exactly right. It's really simple to say, why don't you just take that fix?
Yeah, because Nate has emphasized that the implementation of such and such feature, it's not trivial in KSP2. Yeah. It's not trivial. It is difficult.
It's because
and
I think
it's Unity.
Well, because Unity, yeah. But I think as well, the constraint is that they're trying to keep the code clean.
Yes. And it's easy as we've said before, it's easy for us and anyone to sit here and just point these things out and say, well, this should be done, this should be done, it shouldn't be this way, this should be fixed.
It's easy.
Nate is saying this message, it is not that easy.
It's easy to be an armchair quarterback. It's much different being there working on it.
100%. And that's why I will stick to commentary, because I couldn't code that shit.
There's your NASA
Not in a million years.
I'm quite happy to launch the noodle. I don't want to figure out how the noodle gets to space, because that's just math and science and things that just make various brain cells go. So I'll let them figure it out, and I just fly the ship and have a good time.
I have the same.
And if I'm having a good time, that's all that matters.
I have the same feeling whenever anybody asks me, "Oh, when you want to work at NASA?" No, I just like pointing my camera at these things.
I like to look at the boom tube, not launch the boom tube.
Bingo.
Yes.
Like if I have a job at NASA, in like the PR department, sure, that's my strong suit.
Yeah, different story, right?
Do you want explosions? Right. Fine, put me at the helm.
Yeah.
Tomato's absolute horror. I've still got a lot to go through, but to his relief, I won't.
Bless, because we've been lingering in this section a little while now.
It has, but it's been an important conversation, I think.
Yes, it has.
I will summarize what I've got left. And what it is, in this dev post, Nate has said, okay, he's going out on a limb. He's going to, well, I'll read it. Nate is extending some trust into the community and revealing some priorities that the team is currently working on. And the way he's prioritized it all is by the biggest fun killers. Okay? That's the way they're prioritizing. There is a category that they've got and a whole system there. I'm not going to read it out. I will put I've linked this dev post in the chat. I will do it in the show notes. It is worth a read. It's quite a big chunk of text, but it is worth a read, and it goes through all of that. And with that priority list, he has also got a priority of the current bugs that they're attending to. In no particular order. I won't read them out. I'll just pick one, which is the trajectories change when vehicles cross sphere of influence boundaries. He's reassuring in this post, along with a load of other ones, that the status of that is a fix is in progress. Okay.
Excellent.
He's just highlighting that these biggest concerns in the community, and we've spoken about on this podcast, they are working on them, and he's put it in black and white that they are working on them. Okay. And he's given a status of where they are with them all as well. The biggest fun killers. Go and read the post.
And that's cool. That's the only thing that's stopping me from playing the game constantly is that one sphere of influence bug.
Yes, even going to the moon, it's an issue.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And you know what? I think
sort of. Sorry, Matt, go.
Okay, I was just gonna say I think his transparency is gonna go with that is gonna go a long way. So
Yeah, he's opened the whole thing up for everyone to see and said, right, this is where we are, this is what we're doing. We haven't spoken about it because you didn't like it when we spoke about it, so we stopped speaking about it, and now you don't like that we're not speaking about it. So here it is, and basically this is your fault, to the community. If you don't like what you're seeing or reading, that's tough because you've asked for it, and here it is.
Yeah, it's for a lot of developers. The complexity is the transparency. It sounds really easy. Oh, just be really transparent about what you're doing. But the problem is that creates so many headaches around. Well, you said you were working on X and it's not fixed, so you obviously weren't working on X. So there's no way they can win. But transparency makes it very difficult for certain behaviors to form and it stops people from going, well, we don't think you're doing stuff and we're going to agitate to get it done. You can see there in black and white, if they go, here's our top 10, these are the things that we're actively working on, people can go, oh, that bug is being reviewed. So they can just drop that topic, probably whinge about something else, but at the end of the day, that visibility is hugely important. There's a risk of overshare where they fatigue the player base by giving too much, and people go, oh, it's a draw too hard, but they'll complain about the things that are visibly shown. But kind of keeping that top 10, here's the things that we're targeting right now, here's the things that are next on the pipeline, here's a little bit about what we're doing, and just enough to give people, it gives people confidence, and that will translate, I think, I suspect in that thread. I don't generally read the KSP forums because various people get very emotional, and that means that they don't necessarily communicate very well. But I think that transparency is hugely important because that's a rough history lesson, and it's one that Squad had to learn, and they were never very good at taking on board feedback because ultimately Squad was an advertising company. They didn't really build games. Yeah. So it was very new to them. It was the sort of feedback they've never had before. So I think this team, it's good to see, but a little bit of transparency goes a heck of a long way. So that's fantastic.
Just if I can have the final word on this topic, because I think we do need to move on. I think it can all be summed up into one simple sentence. Developers are not PR people.
Yes.
Right? That's not their job. Like, their job is to develop. So the expectation being right up here with providing PR posts and explaining everything, you're either going to get too much or too little. It's never going to work. So we just need to all cool our jets and just go, it is ongoing. Let them do what they're really good at, which is develop, and it will all get fixed eventually.
And yeah, no, I won't say anymore. Final word.
Mater, push us along, mate.
Alrighty. Then that's gonna take us on to the next section. Real space.
Why don't you have a turn for talking, Mater?
Well, I was gonna go through these pretty quickly because I mean it's just kind of, yeah, they're not big topics. So we're gonna start with like I said earlier in my personal progress, I was in Florida for Starlink 6-3. So that is the second or third launch of the Starlink V2 mini satellites, whatever. Their naming convention for those things is weird. It's the larger Starlink satellites, which I don't know why they call them mini, but they do. Go figure.
Mini's not mini.
No,
I think they're quite big then.
It's
Mini
weird.
and Mini. So they used to launch Mini. Now they're just launching Mini.
Yes. Yes. Following that, and that happened last Thursday, which was, I believe, the 21st or no. Sorry, technically it took place on Friday because it was just after midnight Eastern. That was
sorry,
a long
I'm really
day.
slow. I only just got a joke to add into that.
Oh, good lord.
Right, if they follow the USB naming conventions, it goes, mini, then micro, then suddenly it's called C.
So, following Starlink 6-3 on Sunday, May 21st, was it? Yes, Sunday, May 21st, Axiom 2, the second private astronaut mission to the space station, took off from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, carrying Peggy Whitson, Commander Peggy Whitson, who is the first female commander of a private spacecraft. As
Nice.
well as...
On your Peggy.
Yes, and not to forget, she is one of the most decorated current astronauts flying. She was joined by an American private astronaut, John Schaffner, and 2 Saudi astronauts whose names I am probably going to butcher. Ali Al-Karni and Shayana, I believe it was, Barnawi. Who, Barnawi is the first female Saudi astronaut.
Yeah.
So, and there are...
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And Barnawi and Al-Karni are joining United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al-Nayati on the space station, which brings it up to 3 Arab astronauts in space as of right now.
That's fantastic.
That's got to be a
amazing.
first time
Yeah.
as well.
It is, yes, because I believe Al-Nayati was the first UAE astronaut to go to the space station. So there's a lot of big things happening this year.
Amazing.
Now, Pat,
I'm really, really pleased to hear that.
yes. And they are currently in the midst of their 8-day stay on the space station and should be returning soon, pending weather. It's been kind of around Florida right now, and I believe, let's see, they launched on the 21st. They'll be landing in 2 days. They're splashing down in 2 days, or should be. We'll see if the Florida weather permits that, or if they're going to get an extended stay like Axiom 1 did. But after them was followed by the Arabsat 7B Beta 8 mission, which was also for, I believe, Saudi Arabia. It suffered 3 delays. No, 3? 1, 2, 3. 2 delays, sorry. I was there for them. I was up till 4 a.m. one morning for one of those scrubs. So pardon me if I get some of those numbers wrong. It was too damn early. But we followed that scrub with my first...
I can hear the salt in your voice.
Oh, yeah. But I followed that scrub with my first ever visit to a Waffle House, so that was something.
Ah,
That makes up for it.
Sure, we'll say that.
Waffles.
And
Waffles.
yes. And keeping in the SpaceX vein, before we go to the ULA side of things, Starship's integrated flight test highlight video dropped on the SpaceX Twitter account yesterday, and some of those views are choice. But the important thing about that video is it confirmed which booster and which ship will be flying the second IFT. And that will be Ship 25 and Booster 9. Now, as I said, there's a ULA side of things here. The crewed flight test, they're close, but there was a press conference yesterday saying that there may be more delays because of some, I believe it was paperwork and a battery issue. So we're going to see where that stands. But currently they are targeting July 21st for the crewed flight test of Boeing's Starliner. We'll see if that holds. I don't expect it to. But
yeah.
My final thing to talk about here is the one that I've been excited for quite a while, and it is the second to last launch of the Delta IV Heavy. Finally has its new launch date, June 21st. And I'm glad we're not recording that weekend because I'm not going to be here.
That's the final Delta IV Heavy.
The second to last one, yes. The final.
Second to last one. Oh, okay.
the
Okay.
final
When's the
one,
final.
is currently scheduled. The last I saw was for January of 2024. So, and it was delivered to Cape Canaveral Space Force Station like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago at this point. So,
Oh.
the hardware is there. I think they're just waiting on the payload and to get the other Delta out of the way so they can start stacking.
What is the payload?
Something for the National Reconnaissance Office. So,
Okay.
good question.
Matoro could tell you, but then he'd have to kill you. So
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Exactly.
I would have to kill you.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
This guy
This
this guy
episode will
talks
never
to
get edited,
astronauts
so-
now. Yeah. Matoro talks to astronauts now, so we know that that's
Oh yes, he was interviewing the Artemis crew.
Well,
Yeah.
just
I saw
Victor,
that.
but
Yeah.
yes. And that was still that's a highlight for this year so far.
I still need to do an edit of that interview where you got your train whistle in there.
You would.
Gonna happen.
But that those points are about all I had to talk about here in real space, and I wanted to leave you a bit of time since it is still the Skylab anniversary to talk about what you wanted to talk about with Skylab and reminisce on your grand escapades across southern Australia.
Yes.
So take it
Yeah,
away,
that
was a hell of an
Mr.
adventure.
Gaming.
Well, one of the reasons we're welcoming Kofeyh back is because the Skylab anniversary of the launch, not of the crash, the 50th.
it wasn't my fault.
Yeah,
It crashed a long time.
the anniversary of the
I
launch
just- I
was
would-
our last episode, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was in May.
Hmm.
Still in the same month, but yes, we went to see. God, I can't remember what year it was. 20.
19 it was 1982. It was a long time ago. I don't know, I'm making up dates. It
You
was
are making
2016 actually.
It was 2016.
Good
Yeah,
lord.
2016.
we went and did that. Myself, Kofeyh, Digital Psychosis, and Newbius Maximus, wasn't it? Was the fourth?
It
And,
was, yes. He was the
loaded up the
American
car.
of our party of four.
He was. Yeah. So there was a British, an Australian, a New Zealand, and an American. That's a
Yep.
pretty diverse crew.
They walked into a bar.
I walk into a bar, someone told a joke, and the Australian told him to go and get fucked, and that was it. End of the joke.
You get a NASA beep.
There's your NASA beat for the week.
Yes, we went to Esperance, which is in Western
Esperance.
Australia, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful
Which is,
town.
some of the wreckage
was,
of
actually.
Skylab. It was a nice town, lovely blue seas.
Yeah.
Do
If it weren't so far to travel, I'd go there again in a heartbeat.
you know one of the things I remember out of that trip that I've never forgotten is a nullarbor plane.
Yeah,
Quiet
same.
it was.
That was insane. We got out of the car because we stopped. I think at one of the roadhouses. There was like a
Yeah.
roadhouse.
There is only one roadhouse.
Yeah, I can't remember how far along it is, but we got out and it just sounded different because normally when you are getting out of your car or wherever you are, there's walls, there's houses, there's trees, there's something, right? So there's something to reflect your voice or reflect sound. But out there, other than the roadhouse and a few vehicles, there was nothing. It was just
Nothing.
Nothing.
flat. And so sound just, you'd say something and the sound just go, all right, mate, I'm out. And it would just go. And you'd
Yeah.
say something and it was sort of like you were talking like this, and you were having a normal conversation. But it was like, it was weird. It just
It's like being in a
sounded-
library. You didn't
Yeah.
even want to talk loudly.
No.
Yeah.
You just want to
We
be
all
quiet.
whispered to each other. It was just,
And this
why are
was
we
outside, by the way.
whispering?
This was
Yeah.
just a vast expanse of nothingness.
That's
Yep.
And-
eerie.
It was
It
It was blue sky, red dirt, and
Mm.
black bushes, and that was it. And the bushes were not even waist height.
No,
Right.
it's all knee high.
That was it. For as far as the eye could see, that's all you can see when you get to that truck stop. And the only sound that we could hear, apart from each other speaking, was the air conditioner on the truck stop.
Mm.
And I still remember the sound of the air conditioner because it
Same
was,
here.
Yeah, it was.
It was the only sound.
It was
Yeah.
bizarre. It was just. Bizarre.
It was bizarre. But it was beautiful in its own way. Just the color of the ground and the small shrubs and the sky. It was beautiful. Just very. It was just very. It was a sort of a brutal beauty. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I've
know
never
how people
I've never
talk about-
experienced sound like that before. It was just
Oh, 100%. But you know how people talk about meditating and clearing your head and all of that? Like that is the level that is a level beyond what you can do meditation wise and all of that. That was meditative for me, even though I was just in the middle of a bloody truck stop. Like that's it.
Yeah.
I'm in a truck stop and I'm feeling meditative.
Just
It
feeling
was weird.
God,
Just instantly calm.
Desolate. I'm looking at it
Are
on
you looking at
Google.
it on the maps?
Yeah.
It's just
There's nothing
Yeah.
there.
and it's vast.
Nothing.
It is
all
a
around.
big chunk of South Australia is just nothing.
If you've got a screenshot there, put it on screen, Matoro, because that's
Yeah, let me get back to a
It's
desolate
wild.
spot.
Bithral in chat. I think the words magnificent desolation.
Yeah.
would summarize it quite well. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
absolutely.
It was gorgeous.
Here, I'll pull it up.
But that was on the way to Esperance. And we got to Esperance, and there's a museum there full of lovely ladies, old ladies.
There you go.
And
Just
our intention was to stream we did a mock-up of the Skylab launch and the solar panel coming off and then the docking and everything on KSP. And our intention was to stream from the museum. But we've said it before in a not too distant episode that the ladies, bless them, had no idea what we're going on about. They just...
And they said, we would love to facilitate you, but we don't know how, and we can't really give you a solution for that. So
Yeah, they were all volunteers, bless them. And I think they were just bemused by four dudes just rolling in the door and going, "Oh, look at that! It's space junk!
Wow.
It's amazing!" And just
Wreckage,
beelining
look
to
at
this thing, and they're like, "What the heck? What the
where did you
hell?"
come from?
Yeah, and
You're all different nationalities. What's going on?
it's an invasion again.
So a Brit,
And,
an Australian, a Kiwi, and an American roll in the door.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we had that effect on people. I don't know why.
Yeah, we are here to do the
But yeah, we
streaming.
just sort of beelined and slipped. But they were just like, we're not. What is Twitch? What is
Yes.
Twitch? We do not
We
understand.
go home at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So and
What is this internet?
bless them.
But there was one lady there.
Yeah.
There was one lady there who remembers when the crash happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She remembered the crash. She was a little girl at the time, but she remembers the debris coming through and the sonic booms. And she said it was just a crazy experience for her. And hearing her talk about it was just like, wow, this is a significant moment that she felt, and we now get to share that story for her.
Yes, and there was
It was
some wreckage
just
there
great.
that we observed among a lot of the other things. To be honest, it wasn't that spectacular, was it? There was like
There wasn't
oxygen hole
heaps.
no, but
I mean,
I have
the
an
front
appreciation of what it
door.
is.
Yeah, the front door was held open by a freaking nitrogen tank. It was a big spherical nitrogen tank.
Yeah.
And you go inside and there's a little bit of heat shield wreckage that was there, and just there were bits. It wasn't a whole lot because, let's face it, NASA wanted it back, so they took it back. But there were odds and ends lying around that we could take a look at.
And it was still a bit surreal to be standing next to something. I'll mention that in a second, but it was very surreal to stand next to stuff that's been in space. I had the same experience when I was lucky enough to, and Matt joined me for an escapade to the Kennedy Space Center, which is a place you can visit, which has got the Atlantis space shuttle amongst a bunch of other things. And see, it's a very surreal experience to be presented with the Atlantis, because the presentation of that is fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go to the Space Coast and go to Kennedy Space Center, you have to go through the main entrance and through the presentation they have for Atlantis, because it gets you. It got me 2 or 3 times. But you are presented with this gigantic shuttle which both looks huge and small at the same time. I've never experienced a thing where I've stood next to something that's like, this is vast. It's also tiny. How does that work? But it's when I saw Atlantis, in some ways I remembered the visit to Esperance, because it's like you're just seeing stuff that, like it's bits of metal, it's bits of titanium, but it's been to space and it tells a story, and that's a cool thing to experience.
Yeah, definitely a life-changing trip for me.
And what we did do.
And I will say it, right? I know that we haven't got Newbius here, but I got to say thank you guys for taking that adventure for me. Like, it was some crazy idea that I cooked up out of nowhere and said, hey, how about we do this? Because just the fact that there was space wreckage in Australia, I was really, really, really wanting to see that. Because I don't know when I'm going to get to the States again. It could be, another decade, could be another 2 decades. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to get there again. So being able to see that on relatively my doorstep was an opportunity I couldn't let pass me by. So thank you very much, guys, for coming along with me. I know
from the airport at like 4 a.m. or whatever stupid time it was.
it was like 7 a.m. or something like that. After Newbius stayed at my place the night before, and we got in the car, packed everything up, headed to the airport, which was about half an hour away, picked you up, repacked everything into the car, and then got moving over to Adelaide to go and pick up Mr. Kofeyh. And that was a very long 3 days. That first 3 days of just driving.
We did a lot.
It was a very good 3 days, though. It was amazing.
A lot of mileage. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we did.
What distance did you guys cover?
What distance? 3,000 kilometers each way.
Yeah, it's a good hike.
But I had a 4-hour flight. It was a 4 or 5 hour flight from Darwin down to Melbourne.
And for those of us that only understand freedom units, that is 1,864 miles. Whee!
Each way.
Each way. Uphill both ways in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we stayed in Esperance for what? A day?
Only for a day.
Well, let's talk about that just for a minute.
I mean, at that point, you should have just gone to Perth.
It was actually a really good place we got as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lovely little
motel.
motel.
It was a motel. Yeah.
It was a motel that was one of the units attached to the caravan park.
That's right. It was actually a really good place. A big place.
It was. It was huge.
And because we didn't stream from the museum as we intended, we streamed from that place, which I think actually worked out far better.
Yeah.
And we did. We set up all the kit, didn't we? With all the microphones, the soundboards,
everything, the whole
Kofeyh
works.
with his 4G.
4G. Kofeyh had the internet settled.
Yeah, because we couldn't really use the motel's internet because they're like, do you like dial-up? We have that. It's probably a little bit slow, love, but thank you for the offer. It was cobbled together, but it worked. It worked remarkably well.
It did work really well, and we got a lot of attention from KSP TV and I think EJ and Das Valdez. We got hosted. We had thousands of viewers watching for our recreation of the Skylab in KSP, and it worked really well. And I think because the backseat gaming thing, because poor Newbius was there.
And we're all screaming at him what to do.
How to build the rocket.
Yeah. And he was in his own little world just doing his thing. He was happy.
Bless him, he was so happy.
Yeah.
Sort of being pummeled by 3 other guys going, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, that is an adorable little museum.
The one thing that made that whole stream really hilarious for me is that Aki put together the rocket beforehand, if I remember correctly. And
preparation, yes.
And the docking port on the rocket was backwards. So we could not.
There were a few things that were a bit awkward when we were trying two ships
Especially
trying
when
to come
trying to-
together, and they wouldn't stay together, and it was just very awkward. So,
Yeah.
Why is it not working? Why are they not locking in? It's not. Oh, one's backwards.
Well, we're trying to get the panel to blow off on the launch as well, because that's what happened to Skylab solar panel, wasn't it?
Right? Yeah.
And it just wouldn't let go. It just hung on
No.
there.
No.
for once,
It's like
KSP
launch
ran
pad.
flawlessly. It was crazy.
That's the
That whole
irony.
stream, that was probably the best comedy aspect of that stream. That entire stream, KSP just ran flawlessly. Nothing broke, and we're like, we need you to break. We need this specific bug to happen
you cracking?
because and they're just like, nah, bro, I'm just gonna run normally.
We're trying to
One and
manipulate
only
the
time.
Kraken to do things, and it's
Yeah,
just
it
gone,
just wouldn't.
nah. Every tentacle is just up like this. Nah.
But it made it more fun, but I had a bit of a sweat on, I remember, because it just wasn't. It was going well. I'm not used to things going well. I planned
We
for
were all
failure.
confused. Yeah,
I
why
didn't
is this
plan
not-
for success. That never happens.
Success. What is that?
I do have one tip for anyone driving over the Nullarbor Plain. On the way back, bear in mind time zones are a thing, and you've got to be careful that you don't get in the dark, even with your high beams on, because kangaroos sit in the middle of the road. And there were a number of times where I actually had to swerve to go around a kangaroo, or else we would have all been dead.
Mm.
So yeah, just be careful if you're traveling from west to east. Once again,
Never drive in the
because
dark.
the dark is bad because there's nothing out there. There's no ambient light. There's no trucks. There's nothing. It's just darkness.
Oh, I bet that's
And suddenly there's a kangaroo in front of you in the middle of the road.
I bet that's
It
a
was
wonderful
beautiful at
place
night,
to
though.
look at the sky. Yeah.
Oh, it was beautiful
Oh.
because there's
Oh, it's
almost no
gorgeous.
light pollution. Yeah, it was almost no light pollution. At the truck stop, there was a whole bunch of lights. But if you were to,
But when we were
if
at,
you want-
even when we were at that truck stop,
Yeah,
like
yeah, if you were ever traveling through it, you just want to take a telescope with you and just stay there the night and spend the
Probably one of the
entire night
things we
outside
didn't do,
looking at the skies because there's almost no light pollution because it's a big flat expanse. There's no like clouds or anything, and it gets quite cold at night. Surprisingly, just you think, oh, it's the desert, it must be hot at night. It's like no, it gets really cold, which is fantastic for viewing because you don't have the heat rising up off the ground that affects the imaging. So yeah, no, I would say that's a really good place to put an observatory.
and you know
probably.
that's the one regret that I had when I got back is that I didn't take a telescope with me because I have a telescope, I have a good one and didn't take it with me. I should have.
Well,
So-
we were going
It was
to. I mean, the
beautiful.
car was pretty packed out, to be fair. But
We were pretty packed, yeah.
we were going to follow it up with the parks visit, weren't we?
We were
Yes.
going to go to parks,
Yeah.
and then Newbius went back to the States.
Yeah, and then you left us, Aki.
And then I went
just
back
got
to the
very sad
UK.
after that.
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'll come back at some point. But yes, that wasn't it was never the plan to move back to the UK. But that's a whole
Well, when
story.
when you come back, then we'll organise a parks trip.
And parks would be good. We'll have to drag Matto over as well.
Yes.
Yep.
You have to. Yep, we'll have to get you on the other
Jump
side
a
of the planet,
plane to
Matt.
Australia.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
drag
that's
you to the parks.
expensive.
Oh, you've
That's why we're
noticed.
not coming to you, mate. But it sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, but I have another reason that I don't want to really travel across the ocean, and it has wheels.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
put little floaties on it. It'll be fine.
yeah.
Maybe
Exactly,
one
you'll be
day.
fine.
Australia is a place I would like to visit, so.
We would love
Kind
to
of
have you.
ironic that we've all got together like this and we're all over in different corners of the planet. It's terrible for meeting up.
It really is.
The uniting force is what's out there.
Mm. Yes. And because of KSP.
Yes.
Exactly.
Who'd have
because of
thought
Casey.
one silly little game
That was
about
good to
green men.
reminisce. Yeah, little green men.
But yeah, so that just wanted to reminisce about the Skylab, our little Esperance trip. Which I've got my T-shirt somewhere. I know I've got my T-shirt somewhere. And
Mine's upstairs too. So.
but I have got my little stubby cooler still.
Yep, I've got mine as well.
Still use that. In fact, I had
Still
to glue
use
it
it.
back together the other day.
Oh, tragic.
memories. Mm.
Well, this has been a lovely thing to listen to. I've been enjoying listening to this, to say the least, but unfortunately we're getting on in the show here, so I think it's time we have to regrettably suffer the not-so-science.
We could finish on this note. Porter John, I drove 3,600 miles and all I got was this T-shirt.
Yeah.
There we go.
And stubby holder.
And stubby
holder.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. Matoro,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes.
He sees what I'm doing there.
I do see what you're doing. And you know what? I approve, because you know what? We're going to hold off on the suffering from the not-so-science, because we do have a lovely friend of ours here with us today. And, well, I think it's only appropriate we give our good friend Kofeyh the stage for a moment. So how about we go on over to the guest spotlight?
I love the effect that now has an echo.
I wait for the echo to finish. I enjoy it.
The echo is just gorgeous.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah. I think you need to leave the echo on for a little bit longer so that it doesn't get chopped.
Oh, I can put
So
the
it
echo
just
back in,
fades
don't worry.
in. Oh, I bet
I've
you
already
can.
got so many audio
Maybe you'll
clips
add
of
like
that whistle.
3 minutes of echo. I'm just gonna...
For perspective, if you're out in the Nullarbor Plain, you wouldn't hear that echo.
No, you would not.
No, it would just be...
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, probably would be like that. Yeah.
Just dead.
Just dead.
Matoro, are you gonna lead us in with this, Mr. Host, or am I gonna have to be the host guy and just try and
Actually, you do it, because I just...
fill the space?
Something's in my throat.
Yeah, all right, okay. He's choking on something. Oh dear. He's even got the water bottle out for those listening to the audio. He's trying not to die right now. I'm gonna egg him on to drink the water and not die a whole lot, because filling empty space is what I do. I was in radio for a while, so I'm used to just covering dead air with nothingness. How you feeling, Matoro? You all right?
I'm
You're not
better.
gonna die on us?
I'm better.
You better?
I think I put
All
too
right.
much air into that last whistle.
You whistled too hard.
I whistled too hard.
But
as
all I'm getting is Darude Sandstorm on the whistle, on the train whistle.
Hold on.
Just going absolutely nuts on it. Yeah.
We'll
And
cut
this
that
is
out.
what-
It's fine.
And this is what
No,
we've
we
come
won't.
to. But no, as said, I think it's a time we scoot on over to our guest spotlight, because our lovely friend Kofeyh is here with us. And Kofeyh, it has been a long time since you have been here on the podcast with us, so we totally didn't prepare, but don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anyone.
But you know what?
I wrote a load of KSP notes I didn't even read out. That was all of my notes.
We're totally prepared in episode 8, everybody. But no,
Look,
I think
it's been a fortnight, all right?
Yeah.
Just, take it easy on yourselves.
yes.
I forgot about this in the personal progress, though. I bought myself a new SSD because
Hey!
I'm running out of memory. I got 2 terabyte this time instead of a 1. It's amazing
That's
how 1 terabyte suddenly doesn't become enough.
2
terabytes isn't enough. But before we get distracted,
No.
dear friend, would you care to tell us what you if anything you would like to tell us?
Hi.
Well, actually, no. I think a good place to start would be for listeners who may not know who you are. Maybe just give a brief background of how you came to KSP and who you are in the community.
Okay.
I'm winging it, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I used to play KSP a lot back in the day, and I did stuff on Twitch in relation to KSP, and generally trying to do things in the game. The game didn't always appreciate that, and so it didn't always work. But have streamed KSP for a large number of years, and I still, but like an addiction, just pop back to it from time to time, and it indeed yesterday I was in KSP 2 for a while, and it just made me want to play KSP 1 actually, which I think is probably a really good sign. To be honest, if you play something and it's like, oh, I really want to get stuck into into that genre of games again, it's doing something right. So.
Well, I've
but
said
yeah,
that before. Actually, it's I played KSP 2, and I thought, yeah, okay, I've done that for 10 minutes. I'm frustrated. I'm going to go play KSP 1, and it made me go and play KSP 1. But I appreciated the potential of KSP 2. It's not because I didn't like KSP 2. It's like at the moment KSP 1 is better. So
yeah,
but
and
KSP 2, you can see the potential that it will be even greater.
yeah. It's got that same buggy weirdness going on, but it's you can tell that there's a huge amount of promise, and they will get on top of a number of the bugs because it's Unity, and Unity eventually will succumb to the will of the developer. It just takes a long time. It's a fantastic platform to develop in, particularly if you're wanting to develop and you don't have a huge amount of experience in the industry, particularly if it's some of the platforms, they look amazing, they look very pretty, but when you pair them back and look at the mechanics behind them, there's not that many game engines that can do what Unity can do, which is why Unity is so popular for games like KSP. But there are huge challenges in getting some of the mathematics to work and the game engine to do what you want it to do, but it's very promising. So, but yeah, I have picked up KSP a little bit again, which is good because it's a creative game, and it's been fun to jump into KSP 1 and go, how does all this work again? How does one rocket? And the funniest thing is though, I do wish we had the we've got the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building, in KSP 2, but we don't have the space plane hangar. And it annoys me because the camera controls in KSP 2, I will be polite and kind, it needs some work.
Oh, yes.
Because you can shift the camera around, but as soon as you go to grab a part, it snaps the camera back. And I just miss the space plane hangar because it was there for a reason. If you want to build a rocket, but on the ground, then the space plane hangar is for you. And that means it's rockets, planes, anything you want to build where you want to work in the horizontal plane, the space plane hangar. So I think they're trying to keep the complexity down by having one building, and it's for someone who's never played KSP before, having a single place that you go to build stuff is extremely helpful. Yep. But I feel like they either need to make that building just a truckload bigger, or they need to think about maybe adding the spaceplane hangar and just call it the hangar. Most people know what a hangar is. It's a big, long building. Or call it the barn, because people know what barns are generally as well. Or a warehouse, just something. But a big, long, flat building would be very helpful. Otherwise, people are going to just go and grab the mod that allows you to just ignore both and just go build stuff out on a gigantic flat field where you don't have any of the buildings in the way and you can just work on what you want.
Jed Scrapyard?
Yeah, it's yes, yeah. I've just got a gigantic backyard. I'll just build it there. But yeah, I used to stream KSP a lot. I don't do that these days.
That's I believe that's how we all met you too.
That's how we all met each other, to be fair.
Yeah.
KSP TV.
KSP TV and your morning brew.
Yeah.
Yes, I can still see you launching that big coffee mug up into the sky.
That was fun to do. That was actually fun to do. It took a lot of you'd think, oh, it's just a heap of panels. It can't be that hard, can it? Spoiler, it was fun. It was something. Yeah, because it was soup, which was annoying. The other thing was
soup
at the time I was trying to build it.
Come on now.
And at the time I without realizing I was trying to build in real scale as well. So I'm like, why is this not? Oh right, I'm in real scale. So this is like 900 feet tall and 150 feet wide. Okay, that's probably why it's got the aerodynamic capability of a brick. If I push really hard, it'll fly. But other than that, yeah.
Oh.
You know that I guess that brings me to a question. What because that's quite an achievement, just building that alone. But what do you think your greatest achievement or mission you've ever had in KSP was?
I don't know about the greatest. I think the most fun I had was there was three. I had people kind of rotating in and out of chat while I was and on voice while I was doing some extended mission. And someone was talking about something. I think it was I'm trying to remember who. Anyway, I was trying to fly past Dres. I think it was. There's a coffee-sized hole in Dres now. But I was flying a probe and everything, it was perfect. I had all the signs, and when it was going to come back, I was just going to have so much money. I could build anything I liked. I was just going to be an instant Kerbal millionaire, right? It was fantastic. And I was flying along, and everybody was chatting, and we were having a good time, and it just into the side of a hill because it was dark. Speaking of not driving at night, don't fly at night if you can't see where you're going, and you're like, I don't know, maybe 15 meters lower than the tallest mountain on Dres. Just putting it out there. I think that was probably the most fun. It was also the most soul crushing, but it was also the most fun. That stream was great fun because I had a whole bunch of people from KSP TV kind of just coming in and out and chatting to me, Shimmy and a whole bunch of different people. And yeah, they were. And the funny thing was, they were talking, I was talking, and I just went really quiet. And because there's a stream delay, they're like talking away, and I'm like, Kofeyh, you're really quiet. What's going? Oh, and they put up the stream. It's just as I hit the side of the hill, and that was it. I'm like, well, okay.
Well,
Always F5 for safety.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. There's been a lot of that. I think that's probably one of the strengths of the KSP community is that people just really enjoy playing the game and hanging out with people playing the game. I think that was one of the highlights of certainly of KSP TV and streaming Kerbal was just a whole bunch of people that were just like, this is a pretty cool game and it's pretty cool to talk about, and yeah, and that was probably it for me, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like me. I first played in 0.23, and that was where I first picked up the game. And while I enjoyed building massive rockets and all that sort of stuff, it wasn't until I actually got involved with the community that I actually had a proper interest in the game. And I think that's what makes the difference is the community aspect of people trying to launch boom tubes.
Agreed.
Cool.
It's just that there's something infectious about it.
Yeah. It's a passion.
Yeah.
And the feeling of success that everyone feels when a mission succeeds, regardless of who's flying, everyone who's along for the journey feels the success.
Yeah.
Whenever I played KSP, it was when I was streaming, and I don't stream anymore. And playing KSP now feels very lonely, and actually nowhere near as fun without the stream there, or the chat. It's a very, very different game.
It is.
When you're playing on your own. Yeah.
Squad really captured lightning in a bottle because they didn't realize it. I mean, Harvester was just building. He was in an advertising company. Obviously, he wasn't having a great time being in that industry, and he's just like, I wonder whether I could do this. I'm just kind of, there's a game engine called Unity. I wonder what I could do with this. And they were probably just figuring out like animations and things, because they did animation as well as all sorts of other things. Squad was quite a diverse company as far as the things they did, but yeah, it's just he's just somehow captured this thing that, and I think it's partly because it has one foot in the STEM side of education as well. There's the whole mechanical process of building something and getting into orbit that teaches you so many things about science, about math, and you're not consciously aware of the fact that you're doing mathematics and you're trying to figure out what does TWR mean. You just need to have enough of the stuff coming out of the bottom to get the bit up the top into orbit. And it is often, for many people, just as simple as that. I have a tube and it has fire coming out of the bottom, and there's some dudes up the top screaming, and they're having the best time of their lives, and they're in orbit now. How the hell does that work? Oh God, now I've got to bring them back down again.
And oh God, where's the parachute?
Yeah. Oh, parachutes.
Again.
Oh God, do I need parachutes? And the discovery. I think it's the same sort of thing as Minecraft, where you start Minecraft and you're like, what do I do now? And you see a tree, and then you go, can I punch the tree? And you do that, and then you're off on an adventure, and it just goes on and on and on. And KSP is the same sort of thing. You're presented with the game like, what do I do now? Well, what do these parts do? And before long, you've got this monstrosity on the pad, and it's like wibbling around, and you're giggling like you're giggling. You're basically just having the best time of your life. And then you launch it, and then you have a panic attack for about 3 minutes until you get into orbit. But I think that is an incredible thing, and not all games have that. Some games you run around and shoot people, and it's a grand old time, but it's a different feeling. There's other games that challenge you and push you and kind of stress you and challenge you to be better at the game. I don't think KSP is a game that you get better at. I think it's a game that you learn to enjoy more, and the more you enjoy, the more you get done, and that's kind of a bit of a feeding cycle, really. So I think that's what drew me a lot to the game. Is that kind of, you start small and it just keeps, and then it just goes off the deep end, and you just have the best time. And then you have the bugs, and then you have things like launch clamps chasing you.
As a Porter John in chat, the first moon landing feeling, those feelings of accomplishment that you get, and it's something you never feel again. And unfortunately, it is true, but it is such a huge accomplishment that you get from that game that you don't get from most other games. Yeah, if any other games. The first thing I do when I play KSP1, the first thing I do is load up Twitch, and I'll watch Meta, or like the other day I was chatting to EJ while he was building his car. It's a game that you can do quite casually while engaging with the KSP community at the same time. For me, probably because of all the streaming, they do go hand in hand.
There are times and days that I wish I had like one of those things from Men in Black where I could just erase it from my mind and do it all over again.
Do it all over again. Yeah. Because
that's kind of what I was hoping for KSP2, right? Was that it would be, I'd get zapped. Oh, what is this game? I have no idea what Kerbals are, and go and play it again. And it does actually manage to do that to an extent. You load it up, and it's different enough that it's like, oh, this is different. But I think as they get that to a point that's closer to KSP1, anybody picking it up for the first time is going to absolutely have that exact same experience of, this is really weird. Why are there green people? What is going on? And then before they know it, they've managed to get a rocket into orbit, and the sense of accomplishment and the sense of holy shit is amazing. And
no one will get that again. We'll get that again when Interstellar comes.
Yeah, like,
that's when I think I get that feeling again.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're not even in the same neighborhood.
As you watch the Kerbal system just shrink into the distance. Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's this new star system approaching. I'm looking forward to that feeling.
Yeah. I remember a good long while ago, I actually removed all of my clips from my Twitch channel, and I went through them all, downloaded them all to my PC before I got rid of them. And the clip of the first moon landing for me, like the fist pumping moment that it was a beautiful thing just to catch on camera looking back on it. Because it's exactly right. I'll never feel that again. Like, I will be absolutely excited anytime I hit a planetary body, but nothing will compare to that feeling. And KSP2, I kind of hope it will give us a little bit of that eventually. And I think Interstellar is really what's going to make that happen, because it'll be the first interstellar voyage. And it's not just a landing in the planetary system, it's an interstellar voyage, which is huge.
Yes.
And I think the multiplayer aspect of it as well is going to bring a whole new dimension that we haven't had yet in the KSP verse.
Yeah, and it brings that social aspect back. And I think Kerbal by itself is a good time. Kerbal with others is just a fantastic time. And being able to, if they can get the engine and the game to run in a way where 5-6 people are all doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons and having the best darn time of their lives at the same time, that I think KSP2, probably that's the lightning in the bottle it can catch. If it can get that multiplayer and the interstellar stuff running, that's going to be lightning in the bottle 2.0. That's just a whole new world of new things to do. And
That's going to be KSP2's edge for KSP1 players.
Yeah, definitely.
So to move on to one last question for you, what's the one thing that you're looking for from KSP2? I mean, we've all got our interests. We've all got the things that we really want to see. Kofeyh, for you, man, what is the one thing that you'd love to see?
I think that moment where I managed to get this dilapidated, bits of it are missing ship that's been through the wars into a different system and landed on a body I've never visited before, because I know what all of the bodies look like in KSP1. I've visited pretty much all of them. I've collided with a number of them, and I've left an indelible mark on several. I think that and if I can land in a different solar system on a completely different, unique planet that's just like unlike anything else, and I'm not chased by launch clamps, that's going to be just one heck of a thing. I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to more than anything.
Those launch clamps, they're always chasing you. They're like the whole snail thing.
There's be a fear you're going to have forever, whether they're written out or not. You'll always
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always going to be waiting for them,
where are
because
they?
And then you
they
look,
were a large part of my experience of KSP was getting to Orb and going, yes, all right, we're on our way. What is that dot? Oh no!
Oh no,
And
not again.
the red and the grey. Dun 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 dun. It's just
no, you see what's going to happen is you're going to make this interstellar voyage. You're going to successfully land on this new world, and then in the distance, you'll see a rock.
We'll see the clams
And
coming.
behind the rock, you'll just see it slowly rise.
It'd be like the Monty Python foot coming down and squashing everything.
Yeah.
It'd be a
yeah, right, yeah.
Yes. I have
Yay!
thoroughly enjoyed this discussion, y'all. This has been quite wonderful.
It's been a good time.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming on, Kofeyh.
Yes, without a doubt. Thank you. And on short notice at that. So we are certainly glad to have you back on here.
Well, it's been a good time. And I'll forgive Aki for like literally physically yanking me out of bed and going, "You will go on this show.
You will be here.
No, you will be here." No, it's been a blast. It's been a good time.
Yes, it has.
Aki literally dragged him out of bed. He's got really long arms. You just don't know it. I stretch from the UK to Australia. Yoink.
Long noodly arms. It's terrifying.
He's like that Kerbal bug, the elongation.
God.
Yep.
I descended on him like a launch clamp.
Oh no. Well, on that note,
I'm not
I
getting
think-
that out of my head anytime soon.
I think you're going to have to suffer with us though for just the last few minutes here, just because we've introduced something new since the last time you were on the show, and well, it's time for That's Not Science, Digi.
Yeah, so I gotta say, I mentioned it before. I've been playing around with ChatGPT a little bit. So I got ChatGPT to give me some fantastic science questions for you all that I hadn't even considered. I have also prepared a number of questions, but I figured, let's start off with what ChatGPT gave me as appropriate questions for this segment. So the very first one, dear God, I can't believe I'm going to read this because this sentence is bizarre. AI, what the hell? Question 1. What are the quantum superposition states of a cat that is simultaneously deceased and engaged in the consumption of lasagna?
Wasn't expecting it to go there.
I wasn't either.
Schrodinger's
Schrodinger's
Garfield?
pasta. Yeah.
Yeah, Schrodinger's Garfield.
Ah.
Yeah.
I have several questions.
None of them I can answer for you.
Nope.
Question 2. Could a lemon-powered propulsion system provide sufficient thrust to propel a rocket to the lunar surface? I did ask it to make them sound more sciencey. I said make it sound more science.
I don't want your
Yes, a
damn lemons.
lemon-powered propulsion system.
What does it do? Just squeeze the juice as thrust.
Well, you know how you can make lemon batteries?
Yes. I'm
Yeah,
not
same
sure
concept.
how
I'm less scared of AI now, I think, after those two. I'm just less scared of it. I'm disturbed by it. It's very disturbing, but I am genuinely less scared now because I don't know that it's going to be
Wait
capable
for
of
it.
taking over the world.
I'm just
You
gonna
haven't
say
heard
this.
question 3 yet.
I don't want your damn lemons. We're gonna make AI take the lemons back.
if life gives you lemons, make a rocket.
Um,
Oh
on the
god.
topic of fruit is question 3.
Oh no.
In the hypothetical scenario of a chess match between a pineapple and a watermelon, what would be the optimal opening strategy for both fruits?
What?
I don't know where to go with this.
What?
I don't know. Look, I'm gonna put
information.
all of these questions into the show notes for anyone who wants to read them because my God, what? They are
I need more
ridiculous.
coffee for this conversation. I don't have.
I don't know
Right.
if there's
This
enough
conversation.
coffee in the world for
Hold
this
your coffee, I'm
conversation.
going to grab a whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yep. I mean, what is it? It's 10 a.m. Yeah, I think I need a whiskey too. Guys, as I said, I have prepared some questions for you all. So the first question I'm going to throw at you is: how many hot pockets can a horse eat before it dies from eating too many hot pockets?
Are you
How
sure
hot
this
are the
isn't AI
pockets, first of
generated?
all?
Hey,
How hot?
am
are the
I
hot
sure this
pockets?
isn't AI generated? I'm sure. This is what's weird.
It's like you've gone into a kindergarten. It's gone. Come on, kids. Right.
Come
down
on,
some
kids,
really
give me some
important
questions.
Yeah.
Yep. Can anyone tell me how much a 3rd degree burn is in radians?
What?
Anyone?
No.
How much is a 3rd degree burn in radians?
What?
All right. Will inflation and higher costs of living cause electrons to leave atoms faster?
It goes to show how much context AI needs to ask a simple question.
Yeah,
It needs a lot of background.
it does.
Accurately ask a decent science question.
Which is why it ingests literally everything in order to come up with something basic and
Yeah.
often wrong.
I am so confused right now.
Hey, Digi, at least you can have comfort in the knowledge that this science is more ridiculous than your science. You are above AI.
These are mine. Everything after the watermelon and pineapple question are mine.
Well, this is awkward then.
Are we sure you're not an AI, did you?
Is there something you're not
beep,
telling
boop.
us?
I thought it was just up here.
All right,
Now I am
fine.
confused.
Here's a more logical question for you, all right? If I go skydiving with a slightly smaller parachute each day, how long would it be before I no longer need a parachute?
Hang on.
I'm sure you'll
No.
find that answer out very quickly.
Well, you only need to run that final experiment once, and you'll have your answer.
I was going to say.
Yep.
You may find that you can't run that experiment a second time.
No. It's important to learn though. I
Make sure
feel.
your data
Yeah.
gathering is very good on that jump.
Yeah. You'll want to have really good
Exactly.
telemetry for that last jump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Everyone can go
d-
skydiving once.
Oh god.
that's it. Yep.
I got dark quick.
Is that all you've got? Please tell me that's all you've got. Or is there more?
There's more.
Oh, there's
of course
more.
There's
no.
always
There's
more.
more.
You're
got
leaving us with
terrifying things.
a
Oh my God.
bunch before you go away for a week, aren't you?
What is the mathematical formula which explains why guys named Steve resist saying good Stevening to each other? What would that work to in volts and amps?
No.
Good Stevening.
Good Stevening.
Steve.
Alan.
Steve. Alan. I know a guy called Steve, and his brother's name is Alan, and he hates that whole thing. He hates it. Absolutely hates it.
That's great.
Guys, last one for today. The question I have here is, so we've got AA, then the next size down is AAA, then the next size down is AAAA. Why do batteries scream louder as they get smaller?
Because they're getting tighter. So would you if you got compressed. I don't know. That's all I've
I
got.
mean, they say it on the packet. It's like, that's...
Until you go up in size and it's D.
It just goes. D. Wait.
There you go.
Yeah.
Guys, that's the last one. Thank you very much.
That's a good one to end on.
Leaving us on a
Yeah.
high note.
Like I
Well,
said, guys, I will post the rest of the Chat GPT ones in the show notes because they're so silly. Oh my God, there's even one about peanut butter here. Oh my God.
Well, read it. You can't just.
I kind of want you
Alright.
to do more AI
Within the
generated.
within the realm of hypothetical particle interactions, what would be the expected outcomes if peanut butter were to come into contact with an antimatter particle?
An explosion.
Like, you-
A tasty
AI.
Do you
explosion.
like
No
do you
more.
like mass deletion? Because that's what you get. 'Cause
yeah, right?
the two collide.
Didn't you
Son,
play Death
Can you
Stranding?
answer this for us? Yeah, I have played Death Stranding. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Anyway, it's back to you.
All right. On that
Welcome.
note,
Thanks very much, everyone. Oh, sorry, everyone. If
Oh,
you
no.
want to contribute to that, feel free to contribute to that. Or if you have other questions that you want me asking on the podcast, please, by all means, throw them my way because they're really important, and I think we need to answer them.
yes. And you know what? Load him up with some suggestions because he's not going to be here next episode.
Correct.
So,
I mean, I can give you some questions if you want.
no. Oh no, I cannot carry that torch the way you can.
All right,
Sounds
I'll
of
save it when I'm
existential
back.
dread.
And just so the listeners know, you will be away the next episode,
Correct.
and it should only be that episode, correct?
Correct. At this stage, it will only be that episode.
Okay, cool. So, with that being said, everyone, we're going to go ahead and start rolling things into the outro here. So, I'm going to go ahead and start by saying what we usually say, and that's thank you very much for tuning into the Boosters and Space Tape podcast. We'll be back soon on, I believe the date will be June 10th. That is 2 weeks from now. And then whenever Aki gets the episode uploaded, and, well, whenever I get the episode uploaded onto YouTube, because, my God, I'm slacking. Don't pay attention to that. I will get it done eventually.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
There was a curtain?
I mean, only if you want to hide things.
I needed a curtain.
You just got to, make sure you put clothes on in Star Citizen when you wake up. Or not.
It's
And
optional.
then everything's flapping
Good
in the
lord.
breeze.
Anyway.
You can choose.
On that note, we'd like to thank Popsky for our commissioned intro and outro music. You can find all of his music on his Bandcamp at popsky.bandcamp.com. That is POPSKYY. You can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Boosters and Space Tape. TikTok will happen eventually, maybe sometime this year. I'm not making any promises. That's up to the Thunder from Down Under. You can shoot any...
Porter John in chat going, when TikTok.
It's just a running joke at this point. You can shoot any questions or feedback, and here, seriously, load up Digi with some questions by shooting us feedback at boostersandspacetape@gmail.com. To keep up with our live recordings, you can follow here on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv//Matoro. That is Matoro. And you can subscribe to Boosters and Space Tape on various platforms, including iTunes, Libsyn, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and, well, basically anything, because Aki did the work.
So discoverable.
It's so discoverable. Share us with your friends. You know you want to.
You can even Google Kerbal Podcast now, and we actually come up.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes, we do. Everybody, this has been quite a fun time. Let's do this again real soon. I've been Matoro, and with me have been my wonderful friends, the one and only Digital Psychosis.
Hi.
Mr. Akinesis Gaming.
Hi.
And the one and only Kofeyh. I know which way to point that way.
Hello.
Hello. Fly safe, or something like that.
God, I haven't heard that in a while.
Right? Y'all, it has been a pleasure. I'll see y'all again real soon for the next episode. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. We'll catch you soon for more Kerbal, real space, and other cool and sciencey stuff. We're out of here.
Or not fancy.
Or not sciencey. Bye-bye.